listen to the music for the last couple of minutes. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I am Anne LaFollette, and I am a creative entrepreneur and a surface pattern designer, and I broadcast on Wednesdays at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, every single Wednesday, so that we can talk about art, creativity, and surface pattern design, which is my passion, and how I reinvented myself in my late 50s so that I could be my own boss. And I'm wearing one of my shirts. This is my little doodle design that I created and then turned into fabric and made into this beautiful shirt. And I'm super excited to be here today. I'm always excited to be here on Wednesday because I see so many familiar faces. I can see that Janet Coleman is in the house. Hello, Janet. I haven't seen you in a really long time. It's lovely to see you. And I want to say hi to Lena and to Samantha and Brina and Sylvia. Thank you, Pauline, also for making sure that I am indeed live, both on Facebook and on YouTube. And I'm super excited to be here. So I want to turn off let's see, I need to turn something off on my phone because it's dinging. That's good. I just got that figured out. I had turned on the ringer, and so somebody was sending me a message. So today we're going to talk about two really, really fun things. And Rose Mavis is here as well, which is so exciting. It's great to see you, Rose. So we're going to talk about two things today. We're going to start out by talking about my blog, because I write a blog every Tuesday. And if you're on my email list, you get it on Tuesday mornings. And hopefully, even if you didn't have time to read it yesterday, hopefully you're saving it. What I do is when there are people that I follow online, I create a little folder for them. And then I just pull whatever they're sending me over into that folder so that I don't lose it and I don't have to go search for it in all my emails. Little pro tip, because we're all busy and we all get tons and tons of messages. And so that's how I kind of stay organized to make sure that I don't ever miss anything from the creative people, the creative entrepreneurs, and also the mentors that I follow and who usually email me about once a week. So you should do that too. It's just a pro tip. And my blog yesterday was about the top tips that I want to share with you about how to make sure that the art you're creating is commercially viable. So let me start out by saying that I want you to know where my website is, because if you can't find my email for some reason, you can always go to annelafolletteart.com, which is my website, and there's an area that's super easy for you to find where it takes you to the blog. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me make sure that I actually have the blog, my website open behind me. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to pop over to my website so that you can see how easy it is to find. It is annelafolletteart.com. And you can see it on screen right now. It's a cute picture of me in my creative studio. These here behind me are some really beautiful wrapping papers. I do new wrapping papers all the time. Love wrapping papers. And then you can also see that what I'm holding on to is a whole stash of fabrics. And here is the URL, right, annelafolletteart.com, and you can learn more. I'm offering actually my Doodles coaching week, which we're going to talk about in a second. Enrollment is open in case you've never created a repeating pattern, right? So a repeating pattern is having a little doodle, like you can see on these wrapping papers behind me, or here on this fabric. It's taking little doodles that you've created or art that you've created, and you turn it into a repeating pattern so that the repeat goes on and on and on and on from top to bottom and from left to right. And then you can put it on all kinds of different products. And my two key categories are fabric and wrapping paper. But I'm going to talk more about my Doodles coaching week because it starts next week. It starts on May 8th. So you can learn more by clicking this red button right here. But let's pop over to the blog. You see over here on the right, there's a big button that says blog. It's in red. Click there, and then you can see what I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. And this is the most recent blog right here. Excuse me, I just sneezed. So 3 tips for surface pattern design success. This is one of my newest patterns, which I actually really love. if I do say so myself. So let's talk about the 3 tips for commercial success in surface design. So if you click through, you're going to be able to see the headlines right here. And I'm just going to cover them briefly because you can read them in more detail by going to the blog. But I think there are 3 areas that are super, super important for you to be always considering when you are creating artwork so that it will be commercially viable. All right, so now that you know where the blog is, I'm going to come back on screen and we're going to talk a little bit about this. And I'd love for you to let me know in the comments if you've got any questions as I go through it. So the first and most important thing is you want to make sure that whatever the little doodles are that you're creating for a particular end use, right? You have a product in mind, or you have actually an industry that you'd like to focus on. You have to make sure that the motifs, this is called a motif. Can you see this? This is sort of like an Asian, it's a little bit hard to see. There's a little sprig. There's all these cute little sprigs, and then there's these little medallions. These are called motifs. It's a French word for doodle. And what you want to make sure is that anything that you're putting into your design is going to be relevant for the industry that you are focused on. So let's use an example, because I think it's easier when you think about this in real life terms. If you are, for example, wanting to design for the baby, or the baby kids and baby bedding, it's important, first of all, I'm being pretty specific, right? So it's really important when you're creating artwork that you're being quite specific about the niche that the art is going to be appropriate for. So if you're thinking about bedding for babies or toddlers, think about what might be on that. And here is where Google is your friend. You can Google kids and baby bedding. And then there's, when you go into Google, you can put in kids and baby bedding. Let's do it right now. Why not? Let me go to Google. And I'm going to put in kids and baby bedding. I'm going to share my screen just a second. And this is something that you can do yourself. It's super, super valuable. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go to Google. I just typed in up here, kids and baby. Look, see where in the search bar, I just put kids and baby bedding. And then you can narrow down your search into, boys, girls, crib, etc. And you can then just go to images, right? So click on images. And then what you want to do is you kind of want to look and see, well, what are people putting on the bedding, right? What are people putting on the bedding? So that you can take a look at, well, there's lots of animals, right? Here's an animal. Here's an animal. I know these images are small. Can I make them bigger? Yeah, let's make them a little bit bigger. So this one's a beautiful floral. Look how sweet that is. This looks like it's a camping theme. Can you see that looks like it's got sort of some little camping theme on it, perhaps? Or maybe it's a little hard to tell. Look at this beautiful elephant, so cute. Here are more animals, more animals, more animals. And so you can look through here and you can see that what's commercially viable in this particular category is animals, sweet animals. The other thing that you can observe by doing that research is pastel-y colors, right? Really sweet, soft, pastel-y type colors that are soothing, nothing scary, right? Nothing scary. So that's really easy research for you to do, to see kind of, well, what is being sold right now? And then you do your version of that, right? You want to be totally unique. You want to be creating your own animals, deciding what those animals might be, and also picking your own color palette. But you want to make sure that you're doing something that's appropriate, because here's the thing. People buy normally stuff that they've either bought before or that everybody else is buying. And so you don't want to be too out there doing something that's so kind of out there, like dark and scary colors for kids bedding, because no one would buy it. What do you think? Tell me in the comments. Hello, Tara Lee McDonald. Hello, my sweet friend. It's lovely to see you here too. So let me know in the comments. Doesn't that make sense? And so this is a really, really great way for you to do some market research before you embark on creating a whole bunch of artwork for kids and baby bedding. Okay, so that was number 1, right? That's tip number 1, is spend the time to do some research so that you are on the right track. Because art directors and also people who purchase through your Etsy shop or through your website or through print on demand, they're also going to be wanting to purchase something that looks commercially viable to them. All right, so that was number one. Themes, motifs, and or colors need to make sure that they appeal to your target audience, okay? Right, so that's tip number one. So tip number two is it's very important to develop a signature style. And let me break that down for you a little bit, because that doesn't mean that you have to do the same thing all the time. What it means in this context, and this can happen a lot when we're learning. So when we're learning how to become a surface pattern designer, and you can learn how to become one by joining Doodles, which I'll talk about at the end, because I teach you how to create your first repeating pattern in my Doodles coaching week. So it's a perfect segue for the conversation that we're having. But listen, signature style. People get all like whipped up about signature style. Here's what signature style can sometimes mean. What it means is when you're designing something, you don't want to be using a gazillion different techniques. And let me break that down even further. So, hello, Sochimo. You are joining from YouTube, and I have to say hello to you because I haven't seen you in a while either, and I'm glad you enjoyed this week's blog. Hello, my friend Judy. It's great to see you too. So thank you for joining me. It's great to see so many familiar faces. Okay, let me get back on track. What I was talking to you about was don't throw so many different styles into the work that you're creating. So meaning, let's take an example of a pattern. In this pattern, basically, first of all, super simple color palette. There are two colors, blue and white blue and off-white. But what you notice in here is that both my sprigs, and it's a little bit hard to see, that this cute little medallion, they basically are just line work. They're line work. I didn't throw in any watercolor elements. I didn't throw in anything that kind of has a gradient on it. I didn't throw in something that was actually created more graphically inside Adobe Illustrator. These are hand-drawn, and then I brought them in Illustrator, and I turned them into vector artwork and created the repeat. But I used one technique, right? So the one technique is, it's my line art. So does that make sense? You don't want to be sort of throwing in everything in the kitchen sink into the design itself. If you love to do line work, then make sure that most of your patterns and most of the design work that you do in illustrations come from line work, meaning from a doodle that you created by hand. You might be a watercolor artist. Fantastic. If you're a watercolor artist, then stay in that zone. Stay in kind of your zone of genius, or the area where you have gained the most experience and you feel like that's kind of where your art shines. Does that make sense? Thank you for the compliment on my shirt, and hello, Jane. It's great to see Jane, right? So it is indeed, Pauline, thanks for jumping in with your comment. So it is easy to think that you need to do more and more and more, and you don't, right? If there's a particular approach that you like in your art, and there are particular, either for you, Pauline, since you use Procreate so much, if there are a series of brushes that you like to use those brushes. If there's a certain color palette that you really love, continue to use that color palette, because you'll start to get recognized for the use of that color palette. That actually is how you move towards creating a signature style that's then recognizable when you share it online. So that is tip number 2. And then tip number 3 is also really, really important, which is you want to embrace commercially viable themes. And what I mean by that is there are times of the year when people are going to be buying. So this is both what should I be creating art around, and when should I be publishing the art? It's sort of there are two parts to this tip. So the first part of the tip is you got to think commercially, right? So what is the next upcoming holiday that it would be great for you to have artwork around? Tell me in the comments. Tell me in the comments. What's the next major holiday? You're already seeing everybody talk about it. What's the next major kind of gifting opportunity that's right around the corner? And I know there's always a little bit of a lag time when I ask a question, but somebody can pop it into the comments. But there are several holidays that are coming up. And so you always want to be thinking like a consumer. So what might you need to be buying right now? So my mom, unfortunately, has passed away. So I don't need a Mom's Day card for my own mom, but I could buy a Mother's Day card for my sisters, right? Because they're moms, or for any of my cousins who are moms to celebrate them on upcoming Mother's Day. And you guys are exactly right. You're mentioning the fact that Memorial Day is right around the corner. Christmas is actually not too far off. Memorial Day or the 4th of July, exactly, Rose, which actually we talked about a little earlier today. The 4th of July is right around the corner. And Joan, exactly. So that was the one I was looking for, was like, hey, Mother's Day, I think is like next week. So you might not be able to throw anything together for Mother's Day because it's so close in. And yes, Judy, Mother's Day. So Mother's Day. So what are people going to need for Mother's Day? They're going to need a card. So if you like to do both illustration work, or you want to put some words on top of a repeating pattern and create a bunch of greeting cards that you can sell from your own website, they're very high margin because you can print them all yourself on your home printer if you have a good printer, and everybody needs a Mother's Day card. Now, the other thing too is you could have a Mother's Day themed set of gift wrapping, right? Because people are going to buy a gift hopefully they're going to buy a gift for their mom, and then they need to put it in some wrapping paper. And what better wrapping paper than a wrapping paper that you have designed that is themed around Mother's Day, right? Could be florals, exactly. Florals would be great for a Mother's Day type of wrapping paper. So you get the idea, right? You want to be thinking about, okay, and you want to be working a little bit more in advance, right? So it's fantastic, for example, to start to think about Christmas already, because you got a huge runway to create a lot of wonderful work for Christmas, but also don't skip any of the other big holidays that are coming up. So one of the things that's great about print-on-demand sites, and you can go to my website and go backwards on the blog to see other posts that I've done around print-on-demand shops and a whole bunch of other sort of ways for you to get your art out into the world. You want to make sure that you're thinking about, well, what do I need to maybe refresh? If you've been doing this for a while, maybe you have sort of an old collection of 4th of July items, and you should update them. Make sure that they feel relevant, they feel new. And then, of course, share that with all of your online peeps, whether it's on social media, or definitely talk about it on your website. And also, if you have an email list, make sure you're telling that to everyone who's on your email list. So that's the third big tip. And the second part of that theme, the second part of that tip that I want to make sure I don't forget is that you want to make sure that when you're doing something for Mother's Day, it's going to be in like Mother's Day colors, right? And so Joan, this is a really great question. So you basically want to be working like, you can be working very close in for the stuff that you're putting out, you're going to sell directly, right, on your website or through print-on-demand shops. You can work in very closely. You still have time to sit down and create some artwork for Mother's Day, and you could upload it to Society6, and boom, you're ready to go, right? You don't have to have any lead time. As you're building your portfolio, you also can make sure that you've covered all of the major holidays, so that as you are sharing your portfolio with art directors, or you're making sure that there's a clickable link to your portfolio for people to look at your work, you can cover all the major holidays. So you don't have to get too wrapped up in, well, how far in advance do I need to work? Right? Just so long as you have made a list of all of the major holidays that resonate for you, that you want to participate in, start knocking them off. Meaning start creating the work that is appropriate for them, put that into your portfolio, and then you're basically ready to go all year round. But one of the things I don't want you to overlook is you can work like, right, you know what the holidays are that are in 4 weeks or are in 8 weeks. And so you can put it on your calendar that I want to be making sure that a month in advance I have anything I need for Mother's Day. Or a month in advance, I want to make sure that I've got everything ready and locked and loaded so that you can start promoting it around 4th of July. So part of the how far out do I need to be working is going to depend on if you're doing this full time or you're kind of doing it as a side gig. You might need more lead time if you're doing it as a side gig because you're super busy, and so you don't want to wait until the last minute and then you have 10 designs you need to upload to a print-on-demand site, and you know that's time consuming and then you haven't given yourself enough of a runway. And of course people buy several weeks in advance of the holiday, so you need to take that into consideration as well, right? Because you want to make sure that we're kind of late for Mother's Day because people are buying already. But hopefully that helps, right? Hopefully that helps. All right, I have a bonus for you. I have a bonus tip. So, because this comes up a lot. This comes up a lot, especially when we're first starting in surface design, and it's around color. You ready for the bonus tip around color? So the thing about color is you want to make sure there's enough contrast in your designs so that people can see them kind of from afar. So in particular, in the fabric world, but this is also true if you love, also totally true if you love paper products. When you go into Papyrus or you go into, what's it called, Paper Source, you want to make sure that you're looking around and notice what you're noticing. So if you go into Papyrus, or I think it's called Paper Source, or another paper store where they have sort of a wall of wrapping papers, see how close you have to get before you can recognize the designs themselves. This is a really fun experiment. Go into the store, see where the wall of wrapping papers are. This is kind of like visiting a museum. Go to the wall and then keep stepping back until you can't recognize what's on there anymore. And also, as you're doing that, recognize, like, what do you notice first? What are color combinations that have a lot of contrast to them that are drawing your eye very, very quickly? And so you're drawn to the wall because that's what you're seeing first. So you want to make sure that whatever you are creating isn't so, the contrast isn't so dull, meaning there isn't enough contrast, that they're not even going to notice it on the wall. They wouldn't even notice it. They'd walk right past it. Super, super important. The other thing I want you to notice when you do this, and you can do this by going into your quilt shop. Go into a quilt shop and you'll see all the stacks of fabrics. Go up to the stacks of fabrics and see which ones, look at the colors. There are many, many fewer colors that designers use than you might expect. Let me say that again. There are many, many fewer colors that designers use than you might expect. And so you don't have to have a bazillion colors. And color is very overwhelming. So the fewer colors you use, the clearer your design is going to be. So one of the things I wanted to go back to was just using this as an example. I'm going to go back to my website, and we're going to go back to the blog, and I want to show you this design right here. So this is one of my newest designs, and it has 3 colors or 4 colors, maybe 5. It probably has 5 colors, right? It has 5 colors. It has the very, very light pink in the background, color 1. Color 2 is this darker red. Color 3 is this, which is sort of a grayish color. That's gray. Color 4 is blue, and this little thing inside I think is white. I think this is white inside, the little interior bit of the motif, right? So 5 colors, but it's really pretty, right? You don't need a whole ton of colors to make it be really, really impactful as a design. So that's super, super important. So what I wanted to talk about next was I wanted to invite you, if you haven't already, or even if you have and you want a quick refresher, I am offering my From Doodles to Dollars coaching week again, and it starts next week. So I wanted to make sure that you know where you can enroll, and also what everything that you get when you join, because it costs $10, and it's an incredible, incredible experience. Many of you have taken it. You're welcome to come join me again, and enrollment is open right now. So let me go to back to my website so I can show you where it is on my website in case you want to register from there. So here is this is my blog, but if I go back to my cover page, right, I just go back to annlefollettart.com. Up here at the top, it says join my From Doodles to Dollars coaching week. It's right up here, so you can click this bar to enroll. This will take you to the enrollment page. If you scroll down, I also have a banner right here that says Doodles Coaching Week. It starts on May 8th, enroll today. And then click here to learn more. So I'm going to click here so that I can walk you through. Oops, I think that's going to the wrong URL. Good for me to check, right? This is why it's so important for me to actually do this with you guys. So I need to fix that link because it's taking you to somewhere else. But this is working. And my friend Pauline is putting the link in the comments. She's putting the link in the comments. So if you've always dreamed of putting your designs on fabric or wrapping paper, and maybe a teacher told you you weren't talented enough, or maybe your parents told you you couldn't go to art school, it's never too late to create. And so this Doodles Coaching Week is where we're going to do sketch, color, and pattern design together. And this is what you saw this actually in one of the other images, which is me with my name and the selvage of this fabric. So we're going to use some super easy, cute little doodles. We're going to add color to them inside Adobe Illustrator, and then we're going to turn it into a beautiful repeating pattern. And all of these buttons will take you to the sign up page. It only costs $10. There are going to be prizes this time around for completing your pattern because I really want to make sure you actually get to the finish line. And it starts on Wednesday. You get a copy of this whole calendar when you enroll. Lots of reviews from past students who absolutely loved it, said that it was incredible, and I provide a lot of hands-on support, right? There's a lot of hands-on training, and so it's really the best coaching program you could ever get for just $10, so join me. There are also 3 bonuses. We have an exclusive Coaching Week Facebook group. You get these beautiful, downloadable, step-by-step written guides. And we do troubleshooting support, meaning that when you're actually creating the pattern, if you get stuck, I help you. And Stephanie said she already signed up. Fantastic. I'm so excited, Stephanie, to have you in the program. And I know that Jane, you've taken up in the past, and so has Judy. Many of you guys have taken in the past. But I basically provide almost $550 of value for just your $10 investment. And all you need is a computer, right? You need to bring your computer, just have your computer or a laptop, right? That's great. And then I'm going to give you access to a 7-day free trial of Illustrator if you don't have it, so you can do it all during the Adobe Illustrator 7 days when they give it to you free. And then I'm going to have you bring a couple doodles with you. And you also need a smartphone or a scanner. That's it. And most importantly, your enthusiasm, creativity, and joy. So this, my friends, is the sign-up page for it. And you can find it also at the link that Pauline is putting into the comments. And because it's kind of long, it's members.artwithdan.com/doodles May 2024 email. So that's really long for you to remember. So she'll put it into the comments, which is great. And but you can also find it over on my website. And if you just click the bar that's all the way at the top of the page, it'll take you to that registration page. And so Tara-Lee's taken it, and she said $10. What can you get today for $10? You can barely get 2 cups of coffee, right? You can barely get 2 cups of coffee for $10. Or certainly 2 lattes cost more than $10 now, right? And so I'd love for you to retake it if you want to retake it, or if you've never taken it before. It's the best way for you to embark on this incredible journey with me to learn all about surface pattern design and how to get your doodles onto products that will be commercially viable. So I hope that today was valuable for you, that it was a good use of your time. And I never like to take more than about a half an hour because I know we're all super busy. So I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining me. And as you may know, I love to close every session by saying that I am Anne LaFollette, and it's never too late to create. You can do this, and I hope I'll see you in Doodles. Bye for now.